Ugh, you're all sweaty and dirty. Cool off instead of getting angry.
Cecily, my sister-in-law, sneered at me with a nasty smile. She's a mean-spirited woman who looks down on me. That day, as per Cecily's demand, I cooked in the hot summer kitchen. But suddenly, she grabbed a cold beer, popped the tab, and poured it over my head. The white foam blinded me. I am Malia, a 36-year-old housewife. I've been living with my parents-in-law and my husband Marcus for 10 years now. We married young, with little money, and leaned on my kind parents-in-law. We encouraged each other to save and show our gratitude, but a few years ago, my mother-in-law Marley's health worsened, and I ended up handling most of the household chores. Our relationship with the parents-in-law is good, and we support each other in our daily lives. It's tough managing the house and taking Marley to her appointments, but we all work together. I find fulfillment in my busy life, but now I have a concern. It's about Cecily and her husband Smith, who occasionally visit. Cecily is my sister-in-law, and Smith is her husband. They have no children and plenty of disposable income. Smith works hard at a major publishing company, earning a high salary. They live a flashy life, sparing no expense on fine dining, travel, and gifts. Each time they visit, they dislike our outdated home and book a luxury hotel instead. To us, it's a peculiar situation, but we dismiss it as them having different values. However, what's confusing is their arrogant behavior and endless boasting afterward. Every time Cecily enters our house, she starts complaining with a frown.
This place is so old-fashioned. You've lived here for years and nothing's changed.
She says they stay at hotels for comfort. Smith just stands by, not agreeing or disagreeing.
Hey, Malia, are you listening? Or can't you imagine a life so different from yours?
Yes, I'm listening. I'm sorry, Cecily. Cecily openly talks about their lavish lifestyle and becomes unhappy if she doesn't get a reaction or praise from me. We also don't have children, but we avoid wasteful spending due to concerns like Marley's health. It's evident that she feels superior by looking down on our simple lifestyle. But Cecily's visits are few, only during summer or Christmas, so we manage. Even so, I've always felt complicated about these visits. I was dissatisfied with Cecily's attitude, but I thought I had to cherish her because she was family. That summer, Cecily called me out of the blue, starting with a criticism that the gift I sent last year was cheap.
Last year's gift? It was kind of cheap, wasn't it? I need a little more effort from you, or it's just not exciting for us.
Despite her gentle tone, Cecily's words were harsh. I thought it was a usual call, but that remark made me tense up. Reluctantly, I decided to make my next gift more luxurious to meet Cecily's expectations. I sent her cookies from a high-end department store, but a few days later she called to complain again.
But a bigger box would have been better, you know? Smith likes these flavors, right? This little isn't enough.
I was momentarily at a loss for words with Cecily. I had researched and chosen these premium cookies, sent them with all my heart, only to be shocked by her selfish response. Is the size of the gift really the measure of joy? I answered, I see, but I was a bit stunned. Then, Cecily went on to tell me about their summer visit. Indeed, it was the right time for a homecoming notification. Cecily usually decides everything at the last minute, but this time, she had a lot of requests out of the blue.
Right, I don't want the usual food. Absolutely no pizza. How about seafood and steak?
Seafood?
Yes, shrimp and fish. Oh, but only the expensive big shrimp. Don't go cheap this time. We're coming home after all.
All these demands laid out. Surprised at Cecily's audacity, I took notes of her requests. I thought it would be the usual, but just in case, I asked if they were staying at our house. What about the room?
No need. Smith and I will stay at our usual hotel. Don't worry about us. I've already left home. Plus, I don't want to sleep in that musty bed of ours.
Cecily acted as if she didn't want to impose on her parents' home. But then, what's with all these detailed lunch requests? Does she think she can do anything to me? Rather than a sister-in-law, I feel like a live-in housekeeper at my parents' house. As their visit approaches, my head aches with dissatisfaction. Still, I have no choice but to try my best to meet her demands. If I get through this, I'll have peace for half a year. Until the day arrived, I prepared the guest room in case they suddenly decided to stay, cleaned the house to avoid any criticism, and finally arranged for the high-quality shrimp she wanted. Amidst these busy days, the day of Cecily's visit arrived in no time. But the couple who said they would arrive before noon did not show up. "Malia, can't you get in touch? Should I call the hotel?" Marley asked me anxiously time and again. Cecily must think a little delay is no problem. As for me, I was concerned about the seafood. I thought about cooking some of it in advance, but Cecily had specifically told me the day before.
I want it freshly cooked, so start grilling when we arrive.
So I had agreed to wait and couldn't do anything. Even at noon, Cecily hadn't shown up, and we all waited hungrily, trying to calm Marley. Finally, Cecily arrived around 3 p.m. Without any notice for being late and barely greeting, she hurriedly said to me,
"Hey, I'm hungry. What about the food? You were supposed to prepare it. Hurry up."
Confused by her surprising attitude, I headed to the kitchen. Marley was angry about not being informed of the delay and scolded Cecily, but Cecily seemed unconcerned, just brushing it off with a,
Yeah.
There weren't any immediate problems, so I focused on cooking, trying to maintain a pleasant atmosphere. "By the way, where's Smith? I thought he was coming with you."
"Aw, Smith. He partied too much at the hotel bar last night and didn't wake up, so I left him there. He's probably still sleeping, isn't he?"
I had prepared extra food expecting Cecily's husband Smith to join. It was okay for me to cook less, but Cecily probably drank a lot last night too. Every time she spoke, I could smell the alcohol, and I turned my face away. I stood in the hot kitchen, grilling a lot of seafood. Cecily, of course, didn't help me with the cooking. Instead, she rummaged through the fridge saying,
"I'm so hungry,"
and took out ice cream and beer.
"I missed the hotel's breakfast buffet, so I had to come here. Oh, and Malia, that's too much oil. I'd be happier if you cooked it a bit better."
I inwardly sigh at Cecily's comments, but still I can only respond with a forced smile.
"I hope you're not feeding oily food to the elderly mom and others."
I usually use healthy oils. I'll cook better next time. Enduring Cecily's critical gaze, I did my best to finish the cooking. Marley, who has trouble walking, was sitting down, but she apologized every time I brought food on a large plate. I tried to get Cecily to help, but she was busy with her ice cream and casually turned on the TV. I didn't expect much from her, but her attitude towards Marley bothered me. Marcus and my father-in-law tried to help, but they're not used to cooking, and it was dangerous in the hot summer kitchen with boiling water and hot pans. In the end, I had to do most of it myself. I wore light clothes, but by the time I finished cooking, my shirt was drenched in sweat. I enjoy cooking, but grilling seafood continuously was an experience I'd rather avoid. There's not a single shrimp. After a bit of cleaning, I came out of the kitchen to the living room. Marcus helped bring the chilled beer, but the seafood that was supposed to be on the big plate was obviously less. Not a single one of the expensive shrimps was left.
"Oh, that was all? It's okay to have oily food once in a while. It was so delicious. I guess I snacked too much."
At some point, Cecily, with her neatly manicured bright red nails, was picking at the leftover shrimp tails. Her gluttony and selfishness in eating everything made me furious. That shrimp was expensive, and my parents-in-law were looking forward to eating it together. Cecily ruined it and didn't seem to care at all. Exhausted and angry, I finally said something I usually wouldn't. I prepared the seafood and steak for everyone to enjoy together. Eating it all by yourself is just selfish. My voice was tinged with irritation. Frustration from the constant troubled relationship and pent-up grievances had built up inside me. Cecily looked a bit surprised at my outburst and retaliated with her own words.
Are you serious? I don't get it. You're the selfish one for getting angry all of a sudden. Just a housekeeper-like wife who can only do housework. I just snacked because it was delicious. Why am I wrong? Why are you angry?
Cecily's tone heated up, and everyone around us just watched us bewildered. I glared at her, not backing down, and Cecily suddenly laughed. She looked down on me with a triumphant smile that made me flinch. Cecily picked up a can of beer from the table. She pulled the tab, letting the fizzing sound echo.
Thanks for cooking. Cool off instead of getting angry. See, it's cold and feels good, right?
Cecily then deliberately poured the beer over my head. The can turned upside down, and the white frothing liquid poured down on me. I was speechless, frozen, unable to move. Because of that, I ended up receiving all the beer Cecily poured. "Cecily, what are you thinking?" Marley screamed in shock. Marcus hurried to intervene and took the can away, but it was already empty. I can smell the sour beer-like odor rising from my whole body. I even taste its bitterness in my mouth. My parents-in-law and husband Marcus were scolding Cecily, but my mind went blank, and I couldn't remember what they were saying. Cecily, with her face flushed red, glared at me despite being blamed by everyone. It seemed like she didn't care about being scolded or my retorts. She just raised her voice hysterically and yelled,
"What's the problem? Making a big deal out of such a small thing. The crazy one is this woman."
Cecily remained defiant, offering no excuses or apologies. Instead, she tried to open another can of beer. Marcus shielded me so she couldn't pour it on me. Instead, she spilled the beer into my bag and fled the house as if escaping. We were all stunned by her sudden change, too shocked to react. Father-in-law tried to chase after her, but couldn't catch up and came back after a while. Marcus comforted me by rubbing my shoulders, and Marley apologized to me in tears. After days of being tormented, both my belongings and I were drenched in beer. Cecily's visit only brought chaos, and it didn't end there. The next day, Cecily was dragged to our house by her husband Smith. For some reason, her face was swollen and red, as if she had been bruised. "Malia, I'm truly sorry about yesterday. The stuff in your bag? I can't apologize enough for ruining your illustrations." Smith apologized deeply. In reality, I work as an illustrator from home. I draw meticulously on paper and color with watercolors, not digitally. I usually get small commissions through social media from individuals and authors. However, this time, for the first time, I had received a major project through a publishing house, requested by a renowned author for illustrations. That project was with the large publishing company where Smith works. In a few days, I was scheduled to have a meeting at that publishing house. I had been finishing several illustrations to present there, but they were all ruined by the beer spilled yesterday. The watercolor paintings were smeared by the beer, making it impossible to restore them to their original state. The beer spill was not just a psychological shock to me, it also jeopardized my participation in an important project. Afterward, I remembered the meeting and immediately contacted Smith. Since he was the one who connected me with the famous author, he was shocked and panicked when he heard what happened. The illustrations were ruined, so the meeting was canceled. Smith, already stressed from a hangover, had a big argument with Cecily when she returned to the hotel.
"What have you done? You've ruined everything."
That woman's not that important, right? Why does everyone always protect her?
"What about my position at the company? The author finally liked it. It had to be that illustrator."
Cecily, having drunk again, got even more emotional and started wreaking havoc in the hotel room. She tore down curtains, knocked over the TV, and, in the process, fell and hit her face on a chair. We were shocked by her behavior at home, but the hotel incident left us all speechless. Naturally, the hotel demanded full compensation. The couple agreed to pay, avoiding police involvement. Then Cecily was dragged by Smith to apologize to me. He not only wanted her to apologize, but also had a request for me. Incredibly, he asked if I could finish the illustrations by tomorrow, as the meeting was rescheduled. I was dumbfounded and simply said, "Impossible." It wasn't something that could be done in a day.
"Just a draft will do. You can detail it later. That will satisfy the author."
But as the victim, I had no reason to compromise. Smith's disregard for my work only added to my unease. When I refused, Smith started yelling at Cecily, and they both began to apologize. But there was no way I could do it in a day. Despite only needing more time to resolve the situation, I couldn't understand why I had to rush to meet the rescheduled appointment. When I expressed my unwillingness to compromise and the impossibility of the task, Smith's face fell with disappointment. A heavy silence hung between us. But the next moment, Cecily suddenly flew into a rage, charging at me, and the situation escalated.
"You stupid woman! Even after I apologize deeply, you can't do this?"
Surprised by her outburst, I instinctively stepped back, lost my balance, and fell. As I fell hard, my hand struck the floor painfully. I grimaced as the abrasion on my palm bled, feeling a dull pain. Smith and my father-in-law restrained Cecily, while Marcus quickly grabbed his mobile phone. This was clearly an assault, and he called the police. Although I had no pain other than in my wrist, the police soon arrived, and we all took turns explaining what happened. Once they understood it was a family dispute, they warned Cecily sternly and explained to me how to file an assault case before leaving. Feeling humiliated, Cecily and her husband did not make any further demands on me. After the police left, I went to the hospital with Marcus. My wrist was badly swollen, but fortunately, it was only a sprain. However, I was advised to avoid heavy lifting and household chores for a while. Of course, drawing or holding a brush was strictly off limits. This incident made Marley feel a great sense of responsibility, so I tried to stay cheerful and helped with whatever house chores I could. In my workroom, unfinished illustrations lay dormant. With the delay in delivery, my planned deadlines were significantly missed. Unable to complete the work I had accepted, my income decreased. I considered claiming compensation for medical expenses and damages from Cecily. The physical pain and impact on my work caused by her were clear, and compensation was necessary. Despite Marley's anxiety, I eventually decided to take legal action. There was an author who kept faith in me as an illustrator. The author, curious about the sudden changes in our meetings, contacted me. When I revealed the beer incident, the author was furious.
"Such treatment of a creator."
The author threatened to leave the publishing house and cancel the upcoming book, causing a stir. Fans and media inquiries flooded in, and the publishing house faced an emergency response. Cecily's beer spill caused significant damage. Word spread that my injury was caused by Cecily, leading to another major uproar. Apparently, Smith had explained my injury in the company as a result of
the illustrator's lack of self-management. Sister-in-law is a top-notch illustrator, so business deals will be a breeze from now on.
Smith had been boasting about me within the company, confidently stating so to his colleagues. People around him believed his words and seemed to respect me. My skills were highly regarded within the publishing company, but Smith was leveraging this for his own gain. When Cecily's causing of the injury and Smith's attempts to hide it all came to light, their actions were seen not only as a disregard for writers and creators by the employees, but also as an attempt to cover up inconvenient truths, leading to Smith's demotion and salary cut. And then, a significant rift developed in Cecily's marriage, eventually leading to discussions of divorce. Unable to bear the burden of compensation for the hotel and the claims for damages, and the collapse of her marriage, Cecily tearfully begged to return to her parents' home. But my parents-in-law consistently rejected this proposal. Marley, who usually appeared anxious, was resolute this time, firmly turning Cecily away.
"You always cause such trouble and don't help with housework when you're here. We don't need you. Live your life as you wish alone."
Father-in-law, my husband, and I all agreed. Cecily was quickly turned away. Some time has passed, and now Cecily is working at a hotel. This hotel is known for its strict owner, and Cecily is reportedly having her customer service attitude and entire lifestyle thoroughly reformed. With nowhere to escape, it seems like a fitting situation for her. My wrist fully healed. I started a new series in a magazine with a prominent author. As the illustrator, with the support of my family, I regained a stable income. During my recovery, I dedicated myself to input, which has now filled me with fresh creative energy. An illustration I created caught the attention of a major corporation, leading to a lucky opportunity to design product packaging. The illustration that led me to this new project was one featuring Marley's smile. When I enhanced it, it became widely popular as a design appealing to everyone.
"I have to go see it in the stores."
Despite her reluctance to go out since her foot injury, Marley insisted on seeing it. While I felt a bit embarrassed, Marley's smile made me happier. We're now planning an outing for the four of us, including my parents-in-law.